Okay. Kevin, you all good to go?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Good evening. Welcome to the August 3rd, 2023 meeting of the Southampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the Town Board's enactment of Local Law Number 14 of 2022, adopted on May 24th, 2022. Our next meeting and those following will be held in person here at Town Hall and will also continue to allow for remote participation. So we ask you to continually check the town's website for updates and any new information. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website. With that, I'd ask that you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those of you who are here with us tonight in person, in case of an emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases across the hall and continue downstairs and out through the main entrance. Please do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator. Restrooms are located across the hall. We will start this meeting with the public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. CTV will mute the speakers on Zoom until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find that you are having difficulties accessing the hearings, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another in the boardroom as it interferes with our recording equipment. Tonight, board members Helen Burgess and Keith Tuttle are absent. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking, other than attorneys, will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. Before handing in any submissions to the board tonight, please make sure that the documents identify the ZBA application name and tax map number. The application name should also be written on your certified receipts. Unless otherwise stated at the end of each hearing, all of these applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a date to be announced after the hearing. Those comments can be addressed to the members of the board and sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall to the board secretary, Candace Cowell. With that, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. And now on to adjournments.
Okay, the application, number 8 on the agenda, application of Eric J. Belfi and Tara Belfi, 106 Cold Spring Point Road, Tuckahoe, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-155-1-30. This application has been re-advertised for August 17th.
Second.
No vote on a re-add.
Oh, thank you.
Turning to case number, application number 11 on the agenda, 94 Dune Road Holding Corporation, 94 Dune Road, East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-385-1-37.3. I move to adjourn this application to November 2nd.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Number 12 on the agenda, Roberto Cane, 12 Old Quogue Road, Riverside, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-139-3-47.2. I make a motion to adjourn this application to September 7th.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Following decisions will be adjourned to August 17th. Cecilia M. Hanlon, Daniel S. Collins Jr., Thomas Carroll, Richard J. Flood and Mary Ann Steffens, Alexander Vayman, Max New York Management, Matthew Frank, Production Holding LLC, and Lee Skolnick.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, and finally, I make a motion to reopen the application of 41SS LLC to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio. Chair votes aye. Folks, if you need to speak, you can please go in the hallway.
I now make a motion to close the application on 41SS LLC with a decision to be rendered later on this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, let's start at the beginning of the agenda. Application number 1, Lumber Lane A LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-70-2-41. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-82 lot width to allow a road frontage of 0 feet where 40 feet is required and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction, because
Yeah.
that's Adam.
David Gil Martin Jr., Greenberg Park, Richmond, New York, and I have copies of an updated survey that we received today from Mr. Barilski, which resolves the comment made by Marge about the difference in the architect's plan.
Give them to, you can give them to Katie.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you.
So this is a landlocked parcel that needs road frontage, usually requires 40 feet. This parcel is a conforming lot. It was created as a conforming lot in 1973 prior to the minor subdivision regulations coming in 1975. It's been landlocked since that time, and the owner of the property has made a deal with the property to the east to get an easement that would allow it to exit onto Lumber Lane. The benefit here is pretty clear. They get a buildable lot. There's no detriment. The easement that is offered to the subject parcel is over the current driveway, which exists. I have given you a letter from the other owner offering the easement. The character of the neighborhood won't change. It's an existing driveway, so there's no addition of the curb cut. There's no choice other than getting a variance in these types of landlocked parcels to gain access to the street. This is one lot. Again, it's a conforming lot, so in the substantiality analysis, again, you're gaining access to this lot through an existing driveway, so the physical characteristics won't change. So I would argue that it's not substantial. It is a type 2 action under SECRA, therefore there'll be no environmental impact. And to the extent that it's a self-created hardship, that's not the death knell to the zoning board application. We've offered an extensive memo and other cases where the board has granted this type of relief. We'd ask you to grant the variance. Thank you.
My only question is, I know you just gave us a revised survey. Does that resolve the items on Marjorie Riley's?
Yes, it's an
comments?
area within the house was identified by the surveyor as a garage, but it's really a recreation area within the house, and that's now consistent with the architect's plans.
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, what recreation area versus garage was in her comments.
Right.
Yeah. She also, I think, also to coincide with each other in terms of, well, they just have to coincide with one another. So whatever changes were made, that they're not in conflict
The
with one another.
surveyor got it wrong, not the
Yeah.
architect.
Okay, no problem. Okay. All right, so we have granted this relief, this type of relief before, from time to time. My only other question is whether you've heard from any of the neighbors.
I haven't heard directly from the neighbors, and I am substituting for Kim Judd, who was the original lawyer. And I spoke to her this afternoon. She hadn't heard of anything, but I understand there was an objection raised in the portal. And that objection seems to be centered around a litigation between this property and a neighboring property on an clearing over the line. That's being addressed in Supreme Court right now, so the neighbor has sued
I don't think it has anything to do with this application and gaining access, but I think they did raise that as an objection here.
Okay.
You go.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board, or Katie or Anthony?
The easement, David, it looks like it's what, 22 feet wide?
22 at the road, and I believe a little over 16 as it enters the property.
Okay.
Which leaves it over the 14, which.
And that hasn't been drafted, right? We just have a
Hasn't been
letter.
drafted
Okay.
yet. It's been offered if we're
There's-
successful.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard, who's in the boardroom this evening in connection with this application, the application of Lumber Lane A LLC for property located at Lumber Lane in Bridgehampton? Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which is again for property located at Lumber Lane in Bridgehampton? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
Yeah.
Okay?
Said yeah?
Yes.
Nobody on Zoom.
Yep.
Can everybody see or hear?
Okay, we can see you, but we can't hear you, so you just have to turn on hit the mute button so the volume works.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now, but it's very low. I don't know if you can raise the volume. That's better. That's
Okay,
definitely
that's
better.
better?
Yeah, that's definitely better. Okay, so just need to swear you in unless you're an attorney. So if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Brooke Chapman, and my address is 134 Maple Lane, Bridgehampton, New York, 11932.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and are you an adjacent property owner?
Yes, actually my mother is, but I'm speaking on her behalf today.
Okay. And which property, adjacent property does your mom own? What's the address?
She owns approximately quarter-acre strip that runs alongside the property
Okay,
in discussion.
okay. All right, and you can give us your comments on behalf of your mom.
So I'm requesting that this be tabled. We're currently in active litigation. And a lot of there's more that has been done at that property than what they're requesting. Sean McDermott told me that as soon as ground was broken into, to call ahead and let you guys know that they were doing work back there without a permit. They also constructed retaining walls back there, that Charles Schneider, an ordinance inspector, told me were encroaching on both my mother's property and Long Island Railroad. And, like I mentioned, we're in active litigation, so for those reasons alone, I'm asking that his application be tabled until that is settled.
Well, it could take a long time to settle the litigation. So I don't know that this board is gonna wait for, a year or a year and a half, or however long it might take. So, in the meantime, I wanted to ask, are you, on behalf of your mom, are you opposed to the relief being requested? Are you against the application as it has been presented to us?
I'm opposed.
Okay, all right. Okay,
May we ask why?
Yes,
I mean,
I'm
after the
opposed to it because I don't believe that someone should be rewarded an application that, they there's a lot of reasons that I don't think this should be allowed. I mean, first of all, we're in active litigation. He has been doing work back there without permission from the town. There's no permits posted. I don't.
okay,
I'm
but the
confused why-
release that's being requested is lot width for road frontage, so this property is able to be used as a parcel. Is that access, that lot width relief, does that negatively impact your mom's use of her property?
No, it does not.
Okay. So basically, you'd like to have this kind of held in abeyance because of other issues that are in litigation right now?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I don't know that this board's gonna do that, but we'll find out shortly, okay? We'll consider what you're requesting.
Well, I'd advise the board not to wait for the litigation, because it doesn't have any bearing on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why the neighbor's upset.
It's unrelated to the application.
No, it's not related to this application, and it possibly may hold up their building permit or things like that, but not for this board. You can't wait for the Supreme Court action.
But we are, if you want to submit anything else in writing, when we close it, I think we're going to be closing it, but we'll be leaving it open for a period of time for written submissions. So anything that you think that might be information you think this board should have, you're certainly welcome to submit that to us before we render a decision. We're going to have a deadline for written submissions. I believe that deadline is going to be August 18th. So up until August 18th, if you want to submit something in writing to us, you can.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else on Zoom who is waiting to be heard in connection with this application?
Yeah, there is.
Okay. Good evening. Okay, just want to make sure you can hear us and we can hear you.
Yes,
Okay, very good. Just have to swear you in. If you can state your name and address for the record, please.
yes, my name is Pamela Harwood. I'm the president of the Bridgehampton Civic Association. It's on behalf of the association that I'm speaking this evening.
Okay, and your address?
My address is 371 Woodland Drive in Bridgehampton, very close to where this property is located.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can tell us your comments, please.
I have questions. I couldn't hear the attorney very well. I don't think he was speaking into a microphone. I think this is a problem for the public who's trying to hear an explanation. I've never seen an application like this with no address. There's no street address. I was told it's a legal lot, but you said you've had examples like this, but I haven't in the pretty long time that I've been involved in civic matters. And I wonder, you say it's a lot width issue, but it looks like is this someone's backyard? Is it a flag lot? If there's no road frontage, is there a driveway that leads to this property?
Well, that's what the attorney talked about. I'll let Mr. Gilmartin answer.
If you can speak
But
up into a microphone, that would be helpful.
well, we have microphones, but I appreciate you letting us know that there's trouble on the other end, people hearing, because
Yeah.
that's definitely something we should know. Anyway,
So it's a landlocked parcel that currently doesn't have access to Lumber Lane. They've been offered an easement by the property to the east over their current driveway that would allow them access to Lumber Lane. Lots that are landlocked do not get assigned street numbers by the town and would obviously get one once and if this board grants this relief.
so basically, it's a situation where the applicant has arranged for an easement to have access to Lumber Lane, rather than it being,
on somebody else's driveway?
Yeah.
Yes.
basically, yes.
And do they have that permission?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're being told.
We offered
Okay, so
there was a
there's
letter.
permission to use someone else's driveway, so it would be a flag lot, not a land lot.
In
A
a
flag lot.
in a way.
That the
If it's
fire
granted.
department could have access to.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
It has the proper width.
Right, and I think that our concern, so we wanted to clarify that, and it seems that's been clarified, and I guess it's a very old, old ownership or subdivision that perhaps predated town code, is that it?
Yes, it was done by deed in 1973, which is prior to 1975, when the minor subdivision regulations were enacted by the town.
Mm-hmm. And how large is this lot?
Oh, it's conformings and it's an R20. I think it's almost 34,000 square feet, 33,620 square feet.
And so that's over half an acre?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I think what a few of our concerns are this, and it may or may not be relevant, but there's a lot of building going on there. I was told the neighboring property address, just so I could have an idea of where it was, and that home has 7 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. It's being rented out all the time. That's why it's listed on realtor websites. Concern is that this is the Aquifer Protection Overlay District. The town is having trouble enforcing clearing and revegetation mandates. And this, it sounds as if neighboring properties are extremely large and being rented out, and with 7 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, and perhaps, I don't know what the plans are for this building, but we're worried about density, and I know that you say is this affecting contiguous neighbors, but New York State guidelines talk about the neighborhood, how does it affect the neighborhood, not just contiguous neighbors. And we're concerned about the density that that these very, very large houses are causing in Bridgehampton and on the Aquifer Protection Overlay District and on the non-enforcement of the revegetation and clearing. It was interesting to hear the neighbor Brooke say that there's litigation about overclearing because this is becoming quite common. I don't know that the town has the means to know about all of the overclearing and that's going on in this district. So we're concerned about density. We're concerned with such large houses that are being allowed to be built in this area, that with multiple families sharing houses during the summer, that is creating density and adding to the huge traffic problems that we are experiencing. And those are our concerns. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
And I just want to mention, and I appreciate those concerns, I want to mention that, a property owner has, if they are so inclined, they could explore the possibility of speaking with the CPF and seeing if there's a way that the property could be preserved. But all of those kinds of decisions on the part of an applicant are voluntary.
It's not.
So so I just, for what it's worth, I'll mention
Is
that.
there a way for us to find out who this owner is? Because it's just listed as an LLC.
Well, we have the applicant's attorney here.
Yeah, LLC owns the property.
Well, I had to give my email address, and if I'm sure you can find out my email address, and if you'd like to reach out to me so that we can talk about that would be great.
Well, I have a client and I've got obligations to that client. I'll see if they would like to be identified publicly. I suspect not, but.
Okay.
That's what it-
Thank you for your comment.
Okay, appreciate your comments. All right.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application?
Thank you.
Yes.
Just to clarify, this property actually is not in the aquifer. The properties to the north are in the aquifer, but this property is not in the aquifer protection.
Oh, it's not?
It's not. Just wanted to clarify that for the record.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else who's on Zoom who would like to be heard in connection with this application? You have anybody else, Kevin?
Yeah, one more.
Okay. Good evening, we can see you, I just want to make sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. I just have to swear you in unless you're an attorney.
No, I'm not.
Okay, if you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Surely, my name is Carmine Gibaldi. I live at 206 Lumber Lane, Bridgehampton, New York, 11932.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
If you can spell your last name for us, just for our records?
Surely, G-I-B as in boy, A-L, D as in David, I.
Okay, and just one other question, are you, is your property adjacent to this, to the property that's the applicant's property?
No, a few houses down.
Okay, all right, if you can give us your comments.
Well, is there any opportunity for us to find out what driveway is being used? As one question.
It's on the survey.
Well, we have a survey that's been submitted with the application, and that survey indicates exactly where the driveway is being proposed.
So can you reveal that, since we don't have access to that at this moment?
Well, I don't know if we can get the survey on the screen. We just had a revised survey that was submitted tonight, so I'm not sure that we can do that.
Do you know the
Right.
adjoining
My sense is the individual
numbers?
company
I don't know the
itself-
number.
itself-
It's there already, right?
What?
The driveway's there already?
The house, the driveway's there, it exists, it services the house.
So this is apparently an
Immediately to the
existing driveway that's already there, but my understanding is this is an easement to allow this property owner to use what will be a shared driveway.
Okay, and again, my concerns that Pamela Harville just voiced are fairly much the same, and in connection to the density issue, we on Lumber Lane, as well as in all of Bridgehampton, are very, very concerned with kind of the density issue, the loss of open spaces, the loss of trees, more cars on the road, which increases pollution, cyclists, drivers, any of us as pedestrians walking the streets, becoming a much more dangerous place. And I feel like the community is not taking the right steps in terms of preserving the hamlet of Bridgehampton that way.
Okay,
And it's becoming overcrowded suburb.
Yep, and as I mentioned to Pamela, I have, I mentioned to her, I'll mention to you, the applicant could absolutely explore preservation of this lot with the town, but it's a voluntary thing. Absent eminent domain for a public purpose, these are voluntary programs. In other words, if the
But I wish the
applicant
attorney would potentially think about reaching out to his client and having that information shared so we can have that discussion, rather than the attorney kind of just sloughing it off as he did before.
No, I don't think I sloughed it off, I just said that I have a client to represent. This is a conforming lot, and the structure will be conforming to zoning. So, I mean, the density issues are, you know, I don't think we're creating a lot that didn't exist. This lot has existed since '73, it just had an access issue.
Yeah, and the access, for your information, it appears to be on the survey that it's just north of the intersection at Maple Lane. If
Right, I
that
think
helps
that's
you, I
184.
don't
Is
live
that
in your
where-
neighborhood.
Is that where the notice for the hearing was posted?
Yes.
Yeah. And also the survey, as well as the revised survey, are available, it's in our file. So I don't know that there's public access per se, but also, if you have the information, Mr. Gilmartin, I'm sure could forward you a copy of the survey.
Just give me an email.
Do you have any issue or any concern to be raised about the placement of the access?
It's already there.
Where it is?
Again, it's going to create a problem with multiple cars.
I mean, other than what you've already
There's a
stated.
There's a garage that feeds that driveway already, that holds 8 cars. Then there's a house back there, at least one that I'm aware of, and now there will be an additional house. The amount of traffic and number of cars and trucks, and even non-residential type of vehicles that go in and out of that driveway.
Right, sir, let me,
Are very
if I could,
dangerous for us on the street there.
sir, if I could stop you for a moment. Whether or not to put a house there is not within the purview of this board.
Pardon me, sir?
Whether or not to put a house there is not within the purview of this board.
In other words, they're not asking for a variance related to a house. They're asking for road access.
This is simply about a road access.
Yeah.
So an
Yeah.
argument about density or increased cars and all of that really is not relevant to this issue. So I was just politely asking whether or not there was any issue about the placement, other than density and congestion, that is a concern for you.
Right, and again, my response to you, sir, very politely, is that there is a problem, and that it's going to increase the number of vehicles that go in and out of that particular driveway.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your
I
comments.
appreciate your time.
Thank you, take care.
Thank you.
Okay, do you just want to give you a minute or two to, if you'd like to respond?
No, I think it's been handled very well.
Oh, we have one more person.
It's always your case. Another, danger, density.
It's that cat, it's the cat's work.
Well, it's the script.
There are cars.
That's the
It's
script.
2020. It is the script.
He could buy it himself and just keep it vacant.
Lay it fallow.
They totally could.
Absolutely.
And that's been said point blank in other situations.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Why give up your house?
Right, right.
That's a wonderful argument.
Yep.
Okay, got somebody on the.
Hello, good evening.
On the runway.
Can you hear us? Want to make sure you can hear us and we can hear you.
Watch him take videos.
Is this, are you speaking to me? I'm sorry.
I am, yes, yes.
Hi, I'm sorry. Can't see anything.
Okay, unless you're an attorney, I just have to swear you in. So if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jody Sesta, and I live at 436 North Simi Cox Road in Southampton.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And how am I spell her last
Okay, can you just spell your last name for us, for our records?
Cesta.
Okay.
There's one more thing. Is she Jody with a Y or I?
Is your first name with a Y or an I at the end?
It's an I.
An
J-O-D-I.
I. Okay, and my other question is, are you an adjacent property owner? Do you live near this property?
I do not.
Okay. All right, well, if you can give us your comments, please.
So I first want to start with the fact that I'm very aware of the situation, and I've known Joe Farrell for a long time, and I see the stuff that goes on in this town. I grew up upstate New York, and actually recently sat in front of every single one of you guys to get a variance to build on top of a garage apartment, and what a pain in the butt it's been trying to get approved just to make a life for my daughter and I out here. There's nowhere to live, there's no housing, and people like Joe Farrell.
Okay, but whoa. We're not gonna have, I'm not gonna have you give testimony about an individual builder, okay? If you wanna comment about this particular application, no problem, okay?
We don't even know who he's involved.
Yeah.
Right, but the application it's involving.
Okay, I understand, but we're talking about a particular application on a particular property.
When you guys are gonna start protecting the people in this town? I mean, if you
Thank
guys
you.
have all been bought out by builders and people like this, how do you not see this? Don't you guys have families out here? I mean,
Okay.
how are you not fighting for us, the people?
Okay, well, I
We wanna
appreciate,
live here, and
Yeah,
we wanna
yeah.
ride our.
I appreciate your comments, and you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
Can you finish real quick, please? Our children wanna live here and ride bikes on the street. We wanna take walks. We wanna be around our families. How many houses does this person need that he doesn't even live in? I mean, how many trees does this guy knock down? He's got the money to pay these fines. We don't even have the money to rent a room out here. It's
Okay.
sickening.
Okay, all right, well, I appreciate your comments. I'm interested in comments about this application, and you're not telling me anything about this application. But thank you for your comments.
Regardless, it needs to be heard. Regardless, it needs to be heard.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Okay,
Good luck.
All right,
Good
thank
luck
you.
to the Burnside family and all the neighbors.
okay, thank you so much. All right, anybody else on Zoom?
One more.
Okay. People have property rights.
People
So it's, there's
very
two sides
often
to it.
don't understand
Yeah.
the scope of our.
Good, so let's just, you know,
Power
that's
and
it, no more
decision.
houses, no more
They
anybody.
just treat us like
That's just,
treat us like another
No,
town
no.
board.
no. That's, well, that's the extreme. And there are people who believe that.
It's the developers
Yeah, yeah.
somehow.
Hello, good evening, just wanna make sure we can hear you and you can hear us.
Good evening, I can hear you.
Okay, so I just have to swear you in unless you're an attorney, so you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Perry Wolfman, Wolsman. My address is 206 Maple Lane, and I am adjacent to this property.
Okay, and do you?
Exactly
oh,
behind
excuse-
my
oh,
house.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay,
And I didn't get her first name.
we just want to get your first
Harry.
name again, sorry.
Harry?
With a Y or an I.
P-E-R-I, P is in Peter.
Okay, very
Thank
good. Okay, and if you can give us your comments, please.
The trees behind my house, which belong to Susan Burnside, she owns a piece of property 25 feet deep behind our house and along all of Maple Lane. And they were cleared without a permit, without permission, which was very detrimental to us because now we see the railroad station and we see the railroad and we see all the hanging electrical cords, which are quite unattractive and all over Bridgehampton, but we didn't see them before. We had 50, 60-foot trees back there.
Okay, and I understand this is part of litigation that's going on right now, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Absolutely. It's right behind my house.
okay. No, my question is, that was...
And when I bought the property
Okay.
in 2017, this property was landlocked behind my house. Okay, it was landlocked on the tax maps, okay? I never thought anything could be built there, and I totally oppose the building of any property there. It is a non-conforming lot. It is right next to the railroad station. It is, we know it's Joe Farrell, and he just does whatever he wants. I agree with the woman that was on before me. And you guys need to protect other people other than builders. Is it totally inappropriate for this piece of property to have a house on it? And guess what? The driveway is shared by the person that owns that property, but he's not gonna use it. He's just gonna probably sell it. And it's totally inappropriate to put another driveway back.
Okay, so you want us to deny the application, correct?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
I've been very opposed to it.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your comments?
They didn't have to do it.
No, other than I'm 100% opposed to another driveway there. And it is on Maple Lane, 3 houses up, it's on Lumber Lane for all you listening. 3 or 4 houses up from the corner of Maple, and it's a gray gate. So anyone that wants to see where it is, it's also near the railroad tracks. It's also dangerous to come out there. And I think it's absolutely imperative that you turn this down.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just to clarify, the lot's conforming?
Yep. Okay. Is there anyone else on Zoom who is waiting to be heard?
No one else.
No one else? Okay. I have a lead on this application. I will move that we close the application, except for written submissions. The deadline for written submission is end of business on August 18th. Anyone, including those who just spoke, is welcome to submit anything in writing they would like to us, and it will be on for decision at our September 7th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Kern? Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a quicker night.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Counselor.
45 minutes for 1. We're going to be here till 3 in the morning. Yay.
Heather, you're gonna be quick, right?
I'm going to move on. Number 2 on the agenda, Joseph Light. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-287-1-1.27. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section
Okay, are you giving me something else?
330-6, General Regulations that
in front of you.
references Section 330-11, Resident Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for principal minimum side yard setback from 20 feet to 11.5 feet for a proposed garage addition to the existing dwelling and any other relief necessary, and this is for 15 Whippoorwill Lane.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Heather Wright for the applicant, Joseph Light, who's here with me this evening. The application is for the property located at 15 Whippoorwill Lane. It's in the CR 80 zoning district, but the subdivision zoning of CR 40 applies here. The property is currently improved with a single-family dwelling, pool, deck, and tennis court, all pursuant to a certificate of occupancy from 1990. And then there was an addition made to the house in 2011.
Hold on one second. What is this? Do you mean to give this to me? Oh, no.
Oh,
This
was it at the back of my, is that your copy?
I don't know. I thought, I forget. I was like, was this something new? Sorry.
It's not new.
Okay.
Extras? Yeah, I'm going to give you those.
Okay, so the application is for a small 205 square foot garage addition located 11.5 feet from the northerly property line when 20 feet is required. So the existing garage is 20 feet from the property line. It's a one-car garage. The applicant is looking to add the 205 square feet to get to get room for an additional car as well as for some storage area in the house. Their living situation has changed. They're full-time here now and just need the additional space in the garage. So, you know, as far as the statutory factors go, there's no undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. The design will be in keeping with the design of the existing garage and in terms of the style. You can see the existing garage is heavily sloped at an angle, so the existing garage right now is very tight. In fact, there's a bump out on the inside so that the applicant can open his car door on the passenger side. So this will just give us room for that additional car. We don't have a pyramid issue here because the roof will be sloped consistent with what exists here. I gave you an aerial photograph. You can see that it will be heavily screened from the location of the neighbor located at 19 Whippoorwill, and you should have in your materials, we reached out to that neighbor and they submitted a letter having no objection to the application. And then located to the south and west is a parcel, open space parcel owned by the town of Southampton, which is heavily wooded. So we're only increasing our lot coverage slightly here. The existing lot coverage is 7.1. We're going to be at 7.6. And obviously a two-car garage is a common structure in a residential neighborhood. In terms of a feasible alternative, we really don't have a feasible alternative because the existing garage is located where it is. We're certainly not going to relocate the garage to the other side of the property. And even if that were a possibility, it's really not given that the bedrooms and the configuration of the house. I mean, it would have to be a total reconfiguration of the existing floor plan of the house. And, you know, in terms of substantiality, we believe that, you know, any substantiality is mitigated by the fact that there's no other location for the addition, and we've reached out to the neighbor who has no objection, and it will be heavily screened from the neighbor's property. There won't be any adverse, obviously, environmental condition. We're not adding bedrooms. We're not changing septic, and it certainly is not a self-created hardship. So we would just ask that you grant the variance.
I just had one question. I couldn't find where the measurement was in the survey for the.
It's not on the
The
survey.
new one is on it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's on which
Okay.
one?
Good,
It's
good,
the
good.
new submitted a new one.
Okay, that's in our
It
submittals.
was
Okay,
in
so
the
as long as it's there.
Yeah, sure.
It's all right, I should have it in the submittals.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they came tonight.
Okay, as long
No,
as it's
no,
there.
no. The survey was submitted some time ago. Just so, do you need a copy? I guess that's my point. I have
Yeah,
it.
we just got it.
What came with we got them this evening, it appears. I don't look at
okay.
submittals
But
that
as
I
long
get
as you have them,
anymore
that's fine.
when I get here.
And here it is.
I don't have one
As long
that
as I have it.
has it
We've
on
got
there.
it.
As long as it's been.
It's-
And there it is.
It's in
There it
there.
is.
I'm okay
with it.
All right. My only other question, have you heard from any of the neighbors?
Other than the neighbor who is in support of the application, no.
Yep. All right. Minimal relief, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Katie, Anthony? Nope. Is there anyone who's here in the boardroom who would like to be heard in connection with the application of Light? This is for property located at 15 Whippoorwill Lane in East Quogue. Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which is again for property located at 15 Whippoorwill Lane in East Quogue? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand. Okay. All right. If not, Bob, it's yours.
Move to close the meeting, hold it open for written submissions to August 18th with a decision on 9/7.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thanks for being so quick.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3 on the agenda. PS 1946 Properties LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-142-3-19 in the Hamlet of Flanders. Applicant, address 69 Cypress Avenue. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-6, General Regulations, that references Town Code Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for lot width from 100 feet to 96.15 feet for Lot 1 of a proposed two-lot subdivision, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening. I just have
John?
to swear you in unless you're an attorney. You can now state your name and address for the record, please.
Eric J. Pelletier, architect, 5 Wesley Court, Huntington, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I don't know if you'd like to...
This is my assistant, Deborah Schamberger.
Okay.
She's just here to help me.
Okay, no problem. Deborah, I'll just swear you in just in case you need to jump in. If you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Deborah Schomburger, 5 Wesley Court, Huntington, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. You can tell us about...
Deborah, just spell your last name for me.
SCHAMBERGER.
Okay, thank you. That's totally wrong. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. You can tell us about the application.
Yes, the subject property is a 1-acre lot on a filed map, and it's a small cottage. And the house happens to be situated in the correct position to allow us to propose a subdivision. The new lot we're proposing is 100% conforming to the flag lot standards and the R15 zoning. I've appeared before the planning board for a pre-application, which I have a report here I can submit to you. And I also...
Submit that to our attorney if you'd like.
Okay. And I also have some updated plans we'd like to submit for the board.
Okay. And
this
these are
one-
brand new? They have not been
I've seen
submitted?
this one.
These are revised with some changes.
Okay.
They're basically conforming to what we submitted originally.
Okay.
Just some technical things. And this is an extension that we obtained for the planning pre-application.
Okay.
I have a copy of the filed map, which shows 3 lots down, the same exact subdivision. Cypress Avenue happens to have 1-acre lots, which is kind of different, the largest in the area in Flanders, and it does allow for the subdivision to create the conforming lot. So one has been approved already, 3 lots down, so we're just following kind of the same configuration. The existing house, like I said, happened to be in the right spot to allow us to do the flag lot. The only thing is, the existing lot is 4 feet short on frontage, and that's why we're here to request your permission for that.
Yep.
So, and...
Minimal relief, absolutely minimal relief.
Minimum. But there is some benefits. The existing house has old sewage systems. We're going to conform to the aquifer Pine Barren requirements. We're going to upgrade to the new technology, which is the IA sanitary system. And also the new lot will be 100% conforming to the new sanitary systems. And again, the clearing limits all match, so, I think it's a good application. I hope you agree.
Okay. Have you heard from any of the neighbors?
Not really, and, we've been in the neighborhood, we talked to 1 or 2 of them, but they didn't seem to understand what was going on.
Okay.
And we tried to explain it, so,
Okay.
Other than that, we do have a set of house plans. If you're concerned with what would be built, it's just a modest house, typical to the neighborhood.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are
if
you
feel
planning on
need it.
doing with the existing house?
It's probably gonna be renovated a little bit.
It needs to be renovated a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old cottage, so it's not gonna be moved.
Right.
But it will be upgraded, and like I said, we're gonna upgrade the sanitary system.
Yeah.
But it is a little cottage, and it does need a little work.
I'm the lead on the application. I went out to visit the property. I think adding the subdivision as it's proposed would fit within the character of the community. I think a new home and a renovated home would actually upgrade the community. Many of the houses are absolutely dilapidated, and there's one that needs to be knocked down. It's been condemned, it's all boarded up across the street, two doors down.
Right.
So,
Well, I think Flanders is definitely being improved
It's up and coming,
substantially.
yes,
And
absolutely.
I think this is a builder that's planning to do that too, so. But I can only say that they plan on doing some upgrades.
yeah, and there's more than enough room for it on the lot.
Anthony, I just wanted to ask if you had any comments on this since
I
it's a
took a quick
subdivision.
peruse through I didn't do this application.
Okay.
You could take my word for it, I didn't write that report.
Yeah,
It was
just
longer-
move the
it was
microphone.
longer than it
Yeah.
needs to be. It's a two-lot subdivision. Only thing I would say is, because it is an aquifer, it's an unlisted action. Let me help out the applicants here, because this has been going on a little longer than, I would like. I would recommend for secra that this board just do an uncoordinated review, and I'll write it up for this board. Because otherwise, it's gotta go back to planning, it's gonna take 6 months for a two-lot subdivision. I'd rather this board just be lead agency, and I'll do the secret report. That's my recommendation, uncoordinated review, if that's up to the board, that's my recommendation.
So it requires a secret review?
It
yeah.
does, otherwise it would be a type 2 action, but because it's aquifer, it throws it to unlisted.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Okay, all right. Yep, okay. All right, any other questions or members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard in connection with this application, which is the application of PS 1946 Properties LLC for property located at 69 Cypress Avenue in Flanders? Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which is, again, is for property located at 69 Cypress Avenue in Flanders? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this will be the time to let us know by raising your hand. No one on Zoom, okay. If not, John, it's yours.
Okay, I move to close the public hearing on this application and set it down for written submissions on 8/18 with a decision on 9/7.
Second.
Can we do that with the required, I'm sorry?
Yes.
With that uncoordinated?
Yeah, because they're
Okay.
all in one resolution. That's the
Okay.
benefit, that's the
Thank
great thing
you.
about uncoordinated.
Thank you for
review. Yeah.
catching that.
Thank
Okay, all right, Mr.
second,
Leonard.
Third?
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
That's good, thank you for
No, moving right
offering
along.
to do that.
We made up time.
Thank you for offering to do that.
Thank you.
Have a good day, evening.
Okay, number 4 on the agenda, Raymond Manning, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-5-5-63 in the hamlet of Noyak, 30 Noyak Avenue. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for the reconstruction of a one-family dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 1, Section 330-84D, pyramid height for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 470 cubic feet, 222 cubic feet on the south side, 10 cubic feet on the north side, 218 cubic feet on the east side, and 20 cubic feet on the west side. And 2, Section 330-6, general regulations that references Section 330-11, residence districts table of dimensional regulations for a total lot coverage from the allowed 20% to 27% and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mike.
Brian Locascio with the Adam Miller Group, attorney for the applicant. As stated, I'm here for the Mannings, the owners of 30 Noyak Avenue in Pine Neck, Sag Harbor, New York. It is an undersized lot, 4,188 square feet, on the R10 zoning district that requires a minimum lot area of 10,000 square feet. It's an undersized lot. It has 2 front roads. It fronts both Noyak Avenue and Oak Road. The property is currently improved with a single-family dwelling and a detached garage. As stated, we're before you for 470 cubic feet of pyramid relief. The intent here, the applicant has bought this as a retirement home. They do have 2 children, so they're trying to make a modest living space by creating 2 bedrooms on the second floor and retaining 1 on the first floor with a little expanded, just common area on what is an existing small house. While we are asking for relief for coverage, we are decreasing the total lot coverage from 28.3 to 27.4%. So there is actually a reduction in coverage that is going to result from this application. The applicant did the architect did the best he could to design the roof angle in a way to still allow for 2 functioning bedrooms on the second floor with the roof tipped as much as they could be. The lot is currently situated, what else can I say here? This application will install an IA septic system on the property, so that will be an improvement to the neighborhood. It's only going to be a 3-bedroom home. For all of you that know Pine Neck, it's a lot of undersized lots with a lot of pre-existing non-conforming houses that would not meet zoning today, and many of those lots are, many lots have received variances similar to this or in excess of this, so this would not be out of character with the neighborhood. I have a list of variances I could provide, but I don't know if that's necessary. I'd argue the relief is minimum. Removing a lot of hardscape from the property, so it's going to allow for better, just natural drainage on the property.
Is this entirely, you're taking down the old and building the new?
Yes.
All right, so that's how.
But it's on the same foundation, though. We're keeping the same
Okay,
footprint of the
same
house, with the
same
exception of removing, there's a small bump-out bay window on the Noyak Avenue side that we are removing, the building straight up, and that's creating the reduction in the lot coverage.
Okay, that's how I want it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was gonna happen.
The garage is remaining, so we're somewhat constrained with the building envelope, given the location of the garage, and just these structures all benefit from COs issued in, I believe, the early 70s. And happy to answer any questions you have, any concerns.
My question is about rear yard lot coverage, which is on the survey. You guys can delete the rear yard lot coverage?
It wasn't raised, and I think that's,
Maybe it's somehow including things that aren't
yeah,
in the calculations that the building department would do, but I just wanted to make sure, because 22.3 at one point, it's like they're different structures.
Well, they
Total,
can go to 50 now, if I'm not
We-
mistaken.
you can go to 50 now, so that's
Yep,
why.
yeah.
That was adopted recently.
Yep.
That's why, yes, okay,
and I think that's why that was actually dropped.
okay, all right, this is my question, as long as you don't need it.
Where's the rear?
It's, yeah, which is the.
It's actually, if
Is
you
it-
see
is
it,
it
it's on the
this?
side, kind of where the driveway is, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
it's
garage.
It's the existing garage.
Yep.
Minor pyramid relief.
Yeah, and
Minor,
it's-
minor.
I mean, there's been much
Compared to what we-
greater variances issued in this neighborhood for this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Need, just given the size of the lots and the,
Right.
but I agree, it's been, the architect did a great job
Yeah.
designing within the constraints.
I wanted to say that it appears that there was intention around trying to minimize
Yeah.
that, and we appreciate
Yep,
that.
we tried to remove it, but the bedrooms just wouldn't be
I-
functional,
I
and it's
appreciate
just,
that.
so.
Thank
and
you.
If you have a house near the beach, you know, your children won't want to go visit you, so I
Thank
think
you.
it's
Kinda happens, right?
it happens.
And that's the
Oh,
only
yeah.
reason.
I'll relate to that.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard in connection with this application, which is the application of Manning for property located at 30 Noyak Avenue in Sag Harbor, who's here in the boardroom? Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which again is for property located at 30 Noyak Avenue in Sag Harbor? If you are waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand. No hands, okay. Mike, it's yours.
Okay, so we will close this public hearing and leave it open for written submissions until August 18th, with a decision rendered on September 7th.
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, have a great night.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
Okay, number 5 on the agenda, Bradley E. Hagestad and Sarah D. Hagestad, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-210-1-5.1, Hamlet, Shinnecock Hills, at 34 Ridge Road. Applicant requests the following relief from Town Code Section 330-6, General Regulations, that references Section 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations. 1, a principal front yard setback from the northerly property line, Sugarloaf Road, from 60 feet to 49 feet for a proposed two-story garage addition with living space above, and 2, a principal front yard setback from the westerly property line, Ridge Road / Bathhouse Road, from 60 feet to 46 feet for a proposed covered porch. In addition, applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-77A, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in residence districts for an approximate 24-foot by 20-foot parking area in the front yard on a non-conforming lot, and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction.
Good evening.
Good evening, board members. Wayne Bruin, O'Shea, Marcinsick and Bruin, Southampton, New York, on behalf of the applicants. As indicated in the notice, the applicant's parcel is located at 34 Ridge Road, which is a corner lot on the easterly side of Ridge Road, southerly side of Sugarloaf Road. The zoning is R40. The parcel size is 28,460. It's single and separate, non-conforming. It is a trapezoidal corner lot, and this board may remember this, some of the board members at least, in January. Actually, in 2007, you considered an application for a variance to grant the swimming pool that's on the property with a front yard setback, accessories front yard setback from Sugarloaf Road. And then in January, we had a proposal from the applicants to build a carport, which was essentially located where this proposed garage was, and the board granted variance in January. Since that time, the applicants realized that a carport probably wouldn't serve to store its vehicles and the other things you store in a garage, and went back to the architect and decided they wanted a full enclosed garage. They realized also that how they were questioning how they could get additional space in the house, and the architect told them that if they connected the garage to the house, they could do the construction all at once without disturbing the existing house, as far as going up or that. So what we have now is a proposed garage addition to the single-family dwelling. So it would be a principal structure. The garage addition is basically in the place of the carport, but actually shifted closer to the house, further away from Sugarloaf Road, and equal to the existing front yard setback of 50 feet for the existing dwelling. So no variance is needed. For the carport, you needed a front yard accessory structure setback from both Ridge Road and Sugarloaf Road. And if the board recalls, Sugarloaf Road is a street shown on the map of Shinnecock Hills. It is essentially unopened. It is used as a driveway to the single dwelling on the property to the north. The properties to the east are all preserved Conic Land Trusts. The road will never be opened and used. It's only going to be used by the driveway. They were the findings of this board, both on the swimming pool application as well as the carport application. The other relief that we're asking for is there's an existing deck which has a CO from 2010 that is sitting in front of the house, and they'd like to replace that deck with a porch entry. And so they're taking away what might be habitable living area on the deck, but just replacing it with the entry, and it's approximately the same setback. The other thing that came up after we had submitted the application, the building department realized that the gravel driveway turnaround could be used for off-street parking, and there is that section of the code that says you can't have off-street parking in the required front yard. Notwithstanding that parking, from what we could see on aerial photographs, it's been there since the mid-2000s. It was on the survey that got the updated CO in 2010. It was on your 2017 survey that came before this board, as well as the 2023. So we added that relief to basically legalize, if so, the turnaround or off-street parking to remain as it currently exists. As we put in our petition, we have shown the character of the area, that parking not only has not created any detrimental impact to the neighborhood, it is similar to many parking areas that you see on other adjacent properties in this neighborhood. As far as the garage, similarly, the garage actually now, instead of a 40-foot setback from Sugarloaf, is actually 49 feet. So it's shifted further away from Sugarloaf. And although it's a principal setback, but the amount of relief is actually less, because the principal dwelling setback is 60 feet, and the variance you gave to have the carport was from the accessory setback of 70 feet. So instead of 40 with relief from 70, you're now at 49 from 60. It's lesser relief. And we pointed out in our petition that actually those all or less than 25% would ordinarily be considered minor variance, although the parking in the front yard doesn't qualify for that, so we're asking for that relief as well. I'm trying to be brief. I don't know if there's any particular questions you have or otherwise.
So basically, you had, earlier, I guess, this year, there was a carport application for a carport, and now instead we're going in a different direction with this.
Yeah, yeah, the carport, basically, and to the extent you need to, is that variance is no longer appropriate or necessary because they're basically building the full garage addition. It's replacing it.
What is I may have missed this. What is it, what do you mean garage addition? Is there already a garage?
No, it's an addition to the dwelling.
Oh,
That's
it's
what we
attached
mean.
to the dwelling.
It's attached
Got
to
it.
the dwelling by heated space. So it's all become part of the principal dwelling.
Got
That's
it.
shown on the plans.
Got it.
Okay. We heard from any of the neighbors? You might have mentioned that before.
Have not heard
Have not.
at all. And constantly, my client, has met the neighbors, has never had issues with anything that, the one neighbor to the north, as well as one across the street. And they have had not any comments or questions at all. And I have not heard from anybody as well.
My only comment is that you keep coming back. You're gonna see you again on this property?
I don't think so, but
All right, yeah,
I
okay.
can't.
Yeah, I know, but it seems like we've been considering a lot of stuff in piecemeal, and, that's.
Well,
You don't like seeing him?
Yeah.
No, you're perfectly pleasant, that's not it, and you were brief, which I love.
Yes.
But,
I
Right,
love
but
coming
we-
back
we
here.
don't wanna see
But
variance
2000
creep.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
no,
don't-
I understand that.
that's what I'm really talking
2017
about.
was the prior owner, and the carport was theirs, and,
Right.
it was only, they're sitting down with their
This is
architect and
replacing the-
realizing that a carport wasn't gonna really
Basically
work.
switch, basically.
Yeah.
Understood.
I got
Replacing
it,
the
but I
fire
just,
inspector.
the creep is really.
Understood.
So if they hadn't thought about that, we would have done that application the first time around.
All right.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Is there anyone from the public who is here in the boardroom who would like to be heard in connection with the application of Hagestad? Is that?
Hagestad.
Hagestad, for property located at 34 Ridge Road in Shinnecock Hills.
So the key right there.
Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which again is for property located at 34 Ridge Road in Shinnecock Hills? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this will be the time to let us know by raising your hand. No hands. Okay, well, Keith has the lead on this one, he's not here, so I will make a motion that we close the application, except for written comments. The deadline for written comments will be August 18th, and we will have a decision at our September 7th meeting.
Second.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6 on the agenda,
Hold on. Candace, is this applicant here?
Renette Riley.
She had
No.
told Candace she might be late, so.
Okay.
Why don't you move, why don't you
Yeah,
second,
just go
go to the next one,
to the
right?
next one.
Okay.
Okay, number 7 on the agenda.
Ronette Riley?
Yeah.
I have on Zoom.
Oh,
You're
okay.
on Zoom. Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
we thought you'd be here.
Number 6 on the agenda, Ronette
Sneaky
Riley,
little thing.
Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-53-1-38.2.
Wait, hold on again. Ronette, did you submit the affidavit of posting to Candace, or have you faxed it over, or?
She hasn't joined yet, so.
Oh, all right, well, hold on, because I don't have a posting.
Okay.
I'm sorry again. We thought she was gonna be here.
Okay, have we finished reading the,
No, because I
I'm gonna
don't
wait.
have a
She might not be
posting
here.
yet.
okay.
It's not.
Candace is gonna see if
She's
she,
joining now.
okay.
Okay. As soon as they forget the affidavit.
I know.
Well, because when they're here, they bring it, you
Right,
know?
right. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I just wanna make sure she can get it to us.
Okay.
Supposed to have it in my person.
Company name moment.
Ooh, I love black wax.
Highlighters. And then it's like a little sticky like a ring.
I don't know. It's like in a parking lot or something. Running around.
She's declining to join.
Okay,
Very casual.
It's declining.
all right, well, let's
to the next one.
go to the next one and we'll somehow,
Okay.
Candace will email her, because, Ronette,
number
if you
s-
can hear us, we need your affidavit of posting, please email it to Candace.
Oops.
Don't hurt anybody.
So much going on. Okay, number 7 on the agenda, Elizabeth Blodgett and David Blodgett, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-16-2-64, Hamlet of Sag Harbor, 8 Valley Road. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Town Code Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the proposed in-ground swimming pool to be located within the required minimum side yard for a principal building on a non-conforming lot, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good
We pass
evening.
this to Mike.
I'm recused from this.
Oh, we need a new lead then.
Yeah, you need a new lead.
Okay. All right.
Bob will take it.
I'll take it.
He's right next to me.
Okay, so I just have to swear you in unless you're an attorney.
No.
Okay, you just state your name and address.
Jake Klassen Vanderwatt, 25A Gardner's Lane, Hampton Bays, New York, 11946.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but, nothing but the truth? Can you get the name?
Oh, I know James.
Yes.
Okay.
I spelled his name already.
Okay, very good.
I'm the gold member, yeah.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
Yes.
Here is the original. Copies.
Okay, so if you can now tell us about the application.
Basically, it's a R20 lot. The client wants to build a swimming pool on the south side, and that is the only spot on the property that is really where she can build it. The other is the lot is flat over there, and it falls to Bayview and also to Valley Road. So that's the only spot, but now she has to ask for relief on the side yard.
Okay.
For the pool, the patio, and as well as the fire pit.
Okay. So we have a topography issue, I think. that
Yes,
goes all the way
correct.
down.
Correct.
So,
Can you just review that again for me? So it slopes
Yeah, if
down
you
to
look-
Bayview
if
and
you-
it slopes to Valley?
Yeah, if you look at this, it's flat over here,
Uh-huh.
and then it slopes to Valley and it slopes to Bayview.
Mhm.
So this is basically the only spot where a pool can be built.
so, normally we would ask, when there's a accessory structure being proposed in the side yard or a front yard,
Yeah.
if there was a conforming location, and because of the topography.
Yeah,
there isn't one.
there's none, and, you can't build in the front yard, in the backyard, there's no space. So, I mean, this is only a 9 by 24 pool, so it's very small. It's just something small, but that's the only spot.
Okay. Have you heard from any of the neighbors?
No. I mean, there were comments, but nothing, nobody complains about the pool. The only issue was location of the pool equipment, but we moved that to accommodate the neighbor.
Okay.
And then there was some comments about the
Yep.
relief of the fire pit and the pool
Yes,
patio.
I mentioned that.
Okay, okay.
So it's not only for
Alright.
the pool, it's for the patio and the fire pit as well.
Okay, just, want to make sure that the comments are taken care of
Okay.
we have from Marjorie Riley, so, so she has the survey be revised, so I'm presuming this is the revised survey.
This is the
based on
revised
that.
survey, the date was changed to.
Yep.
So. And I did give Katie.
Yep, and I passed them down. So the most recent survey is now August 2nd.
Correct.
It's an
Right.
accessory structure, so it's 10 foot.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Patio's
Any other questions in members of the board?
No questions.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard in connection with the application of Blodgett for property located at 8 Valley Road in Sag Harbor? Yes, you have to come on up. You can either have a seat or go to the podium, but we have to have you near,
It's a quick, Stephanie Shane,
okay,
Yeah,
gotta
swear
get you
you
to the
in.
microphone.
Sure.
Okay, okay, all right, so I just have to swear you in, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Stephanie Shane, it's 845 Orchard in Orient, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
S-H-A-Y-N-E.
Okay, and do you live adjacent to this property?
No, I've been helping out Mrs. Blodgett,
Okay.
property managing, working with her contractor and stuff. I've seen the neighbors go, come and go. I've spoken to some of them briefly. I don't have their names or addresses. I put the signs up, to show that we were having this hearing and stuff. We've had a few people stop by, general inquiries, I mentioned the pool. They were like, what are these signs? No one voiced any concerns or, it's kind of like, oh, okay, Just wanted to, no complaints or anything, but everyone's been nice in the neighborhood and they kind of know what's going on, so I haven't heard anything
Okay.
negative about it.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you for
Thank
letting
you.
us know. Appreciate it. Okay, is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on, who'd like to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which again is for property located at 8 Valley Road in Sag Harbor? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No one on Zoom.
Okay, if not, Bob, it's now yours.
Okay, I'll move to close the meeting, close the hearing, hold it open for written submissions to 8/18 with a decision on 9/7.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Curran.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and Mr. Daly had recused himself, so he abstains.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
Renette Riley? Oh, God. Okay, number 6 on the agenda.
All right,
Renette.
number 1 was 45 minutes, so
I
it
got-
kind of gave me the wrong time.
Number 6 on the agenda, Ronette Riley,
Can I sit here?
Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-53-1-38.2, Hamlet of Bridgehampton, 873 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike. Applicant requests a determination as to whether or not the proposed accessory building is a subordinate or incidental building pursuant to Town Code Section 330-5 definitions because of its size in proportion to the main dwelling and its use. In addition, applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. 1. Section 330-11.2 G1 special standards to allow a proposed accessory apartment to be 41.2% of the total floor area of the principal dwelling, where a maximum of 35% is allowed, and 2, Section 330-77C, placement of accessory building structures and uses in residence districts, to allow the total building height of the proposed attached garage with apartment above to be 29 feet, where a maximum height of 20 feet permitted, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. Can pass that to
Good
Susan.
evening. I just have to swear you in unless you're an attorney. So if you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Ronette Riley,
Your address?
out here,
Whichever address you want to give us.
wherever. 873 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, Bridgehampton, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, then tell us about the application.
Okay, I own a property on the Turnpike. It's across the street from a 12-unit affordable housing area, and I have a 4-car garage that is about to fall down, so I'd like to rebuild it and add an accessory apartment, because I think it fits in the neighborhood and it fits in the do-good part of what we should do. And there are a couple of things that, in terms of the height, we wanted it to match the existing house, and also provide enough headroom for the dwelling. And in terms of the area, in terms of that, we're asking for a very minor amount of the area, and it's even less, because when I was double checking the numbers, we counted there's a balcony, and we counted that as part of the habitable space, so it's even less of a incursion into the limitations of the square footage.
So we also have to, as part of this application, we have to make a determination as to whether the primary structure and what is the proposed accessory structure, whether the proposed accessory structure is actually accessory. And let me tell you a little bit about how that works. If it is by percentage, 25% or less in size, the accessory structure compared with the primary structure, the building department downstairs deems it to be accessory. If it's more than 25%, then we have to decide whether it's accessory or not. So I don't know if you have that percentage as to what the size of the accessory structure is versus the primary structure.
41.2.
All right. Okay. Well, I have that in floor area. Accessory apartment would be 40. That's
The accessory
that's the
apartment
floor
is-
area. That's different.
Well, the building, right now, the building is a 48 by 24 foot structure, existing structure on the site. So we're planning to use that footprint and go up with a 884 square foot accessory apartment, trying to do a 2-bedroom.
That'll be on top of the garage?
On top of the garage.
Oh, quickly, you have the house listed on the survey as a 2.5-story frame
I have
house.
revised surveys.
Okay.
That, I don't know why that.
It's a 2-story.
It's a 2-story house.
Okay. Can you submit the revised survey to our attorney, please?
Okay, that takes care
And
of
we had a
number one.
difference of opinion on what the rear yard percentage was, so we changed our site plan to be in alignment with the survey
Okay.
for the,
Yeah, because we had gotten building department comments, and maybe that's,
Right.
that covers that.
That was comment 2 and
Yeah,
3.
okay, okay.
Perfect.
What is the square footage
Top
of
is
the
original.
principal
Susan?
building?
Yep.
it's a tiny house. And I did an addition a couple of years ago, and if I'd only thought about it, I would have done a bigger addition. But the main house is 2,142 square feet.
I'm sorry, hold on. What was it?
2,142.
Square feet.
142.
Yeah, and the
It's going to be 880, did you say?
884, and the 35% of that number is 749.7,
Okay.
and the habitable area of the apartment was 884 square feet.
So I'm not really
Wait a
getting my
second.
question answered
No.
here.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. So we need to get clarification here.
Yeah.
And we need numbers from an architect.
Yeah.
I am an
Oh,
architect.
okay, perfect.
Okay.
Are you the
So-
architect on this project?
Yes, I am.
That's very convenient.
So, yeah, so we're gonna need, it's a different number than the 41.2. That's having to do with the accessory apartment law. This is the size in its entirety of the accessory
Yes.
structure versus the primary structure.
I can-
And the percentage between them.
Okay.
Including the garage?
3, yes,
I
so
believe so.
counting,
The habitable
counting,
area.
No, no, no.
No, not including the garage.
No, not
Yeah.
about habitable, just the
Yeah, yeah.
massing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
The
yeah.
entire structure?
That's
the
what I
entire
thought.
structure is 3,215 square feet. The main house is 2,142 square feet. That's a 150.1%. But once again, we counted the 225 square feet of the balcony,
Okay.
so slightly smaller.
So the proposed accessory building is bigger than the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a problem.
Yeah.
We have
Big
a problem now.
Big problem.
Okay, because we can't presume an accessory structure or conclude that an accessory structure is accessory when it's bigger than the primary structure.
So, we spent a lot of,
Yep.
I
Yep.
respect what
Well-
you're saying.
well,
We
that's-
spent a lot of time trying to get to the right approach for all of this. So, the existing structure is already almost 1,600 square feet. We're just going up one floor. So the existing structure is there, and it's
What is the 1,600 square feet?
Mhm.
So that also is just, right now.
No, but it's accepted, it's on the
It's a
C of O.
garage, yeah.
It's been there, I've owned the house 20 years, it's been there forever. So in terms of trying to make something that does good for the community, how will my house is a tiny house compared to, it's a 1 acre site, so it's not.
I've been to the property, it's lovely,
Thank you.
but the garage is massive. And you're saying you want to use the footprint? Is there a
Mhm.
reason to use the footprint? Is there, the garage is in terrible shape, as you know. But, are you wedded to keeping that footprint? Because that seems to be what some of the issue could be.
Well, I was hoping to get a reasonable apartment size, and I think what we were proposing for so I started off doing a 1-bedroom. We keep reading the rules, and we felt that a 2-bedroom was more serviceable to that population that would utilize it. So we were trying to make a decent 2-bedroom apartment there.
Yeah. And we've been down this road before. So one of the things that sometimes comes up is when people have like small primary structures and they're trying to have a large use in accessory structure, sometimes it may be because of this problem with accessory versus primary that may want to talk about more than one accessory structure. One is a garage and one is an apartment, as opposed to just a single structure that's bigger than the house.
Well, or could you use part of the 1,600 square feet of garage as part of the apartment? Like have 3-car garage, if you're gonna rebuild the whole thing.
The other problem I have is the height.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge
Oh,
problem.
yeah. I can't remember, I've been doing this for a little while. I can't remember us granting 9 feet of height relief for an accessory structure.
Right.
Us ever doing that. Yeah.
What I don't know, so,
Yep, yep.
but 20 is the code.
20's the code.
Right.
Yep.
But if I do 20, I don't get the headroom that I need.
Well, I think there are,
So-
there are multiple
so-
problems here, so I think
Yeah.
that's one of the problems.
Right.
But,
So
but the
what are the
main,
ceiling heights and,
Yeah.
there are other.
What's the current height
The current,
of the garage?
It's one story.
It's one story,
but it's
but what is the?
peaked, it's peaked, so, I have to tell you, I don't have that.
Yeah.
It's probably in the drawings, there should be a, elevation across
You
the,
expect me to read that?
Yes.
I'm
No,
blind.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
yeah.
Ms.
So-
Riley,
so
you're-
I-
Do you mind if I go get a pen?
Not at all.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
I,
so
It looks to be 18 feet to the beginning of the roof.
right, so
Yeah.
it's
it's
pretty,
already, yeah,
it's-
close.
You're already
Ma-
at,
maybe.
you could have a 2-foot accessory apartment.
being John Malkovich.
Yeah, like
Malkovich.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Too bad.
So,
not
so
happening.
I mean, the sense of kind of where I think things are going is, we're gonna need you to rework this.
Okay, I have
Yeah.
a few questions.
Sure.
It's my understanding that accessible apartments are a priority. Is it at, and I was trying to make something that fit well in the neighborhood and fit well on the site. I hear that you say add a third party, but I am in or a third structure, I'm in an aquifer. So, I don't know what that does in terms of buildable area, on the site. If I have an existing garage that's already there, it's 18 feet high, and we tear, it needs to come down if you've been to
No,
the site.
trust me,
It was
yes.
built by, this was all built by a contractor who used,
Yeah.
who did it as cheaply as possible. If I built a bigger addition on my main house, then this isn't a problem.
Well, it would have to be a really big addition on your main
Yeah.
house, but yes.
I did a little tiny
Then you
addition.
don't have the percentage changes. So, and
Uh-huh.
in fact, that was something that we've had other applicants
But, I mean,
consider as well.
it's a huge garage. I mean, how many cars were you planning to park in it? I mean, that's,
I own 3, I race cars,
you know, you're just gonna have to.
Pick your poison.
Yeah, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to, you're gonna have to go back and take a look
It
at
looks
this
like,
because.
yeah, 2 and then unfinished space, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I
Even
don't think you, I mean, we welcome the idea of having accessory apartments, we support that, but we do have to live within the means of, providing
Yeah.
that. So, see if you can be creative and come back with something that meets, much closer to what we require.
Well, if it meets the requirement, then I wouldn't have to come back, right? So
If it meets the
I-
requirement,
true.
that's absolutely true.
So
Yeah.
my question then is,
Oh, and it's not saying that we're not willing to grant variance relief. The question is how much.
Yeah.
right, so
That's
I'm
what
trying to
Point
get
is
it.
too much. It's
Yeah.
too
I've
much.
waited 1 year to come here. If I wait too much longer, I might not live long enough to see it built.
What's the condition of the concrete slab?
Great.
Sorry to hear that.
No, I mean,
We-
it's a concrete slab.
Yeah,
Come on.
but sometimes they're dilapidated as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah,
it's a
no.
concrete
Ms. Riley,
slab.
we don't like to negotiate with you
Yes,
here.
right.
But I will just say to you, I would be more likely to be accepting of something that is in the existing footprint that was within the height limitations, and that was both a garage and an accessory apartment. Something like that, but not,
But,
certainly not any bigger
we
than
still have the
that.
square footage problem.
well, we would, but not as much as,
Once again, the square footage, when I was going over it today.
that's just me.
It's less square footage than we have on there because we counted. It's my understanding that balconies don't count.
Yeah, but it's still, a big difference.
Are they close enough that you could connect them? Could you connect the house to the
They're
garage?
close. They're not.
I kept them wide enough to get a fire truck in between the two, so they're about 14 feet.
Well, that's another option to explore, is
Breezeway.
connecting
So
structures.
Breezeway.
If it's connected, then the whole issue with the size of the accessory structures the primary
Can I get the
structure
drawings?
goes away.
I'm gonna draw on it right now.
Goes away, so that's another way of dealing with this.
Okay,
And then you would just need different variances, but you wouldn't have a height limitation and you wouldn't have the size, because it would be considered all part of the house.
Yeah.
You need to give some consideration to revising this to meet your needs and to meet the, but like Mike says, we're not here to negotiate with you and come up with architectural plans for you. You
No,
sound like
I'm-
you really have some good ideas, and come back.
Yeah.
but I wasn't asking to negotiate. I was, at what point is a variance, if you're saying it has to be 20 feet, then why am I here for a variance? So one of my early plans was 23 feet. Is that in the realm of consideration?
23 feet for
Height
height?
versus 20?
An accessory structure.
Not on an accessory structure, but on an attached portion of the house.
Yeah. Well, if it's attached to the house,
If it's attached to the house,
It's not a problem.
it's not a problem.
We're going to have a decision on one of those tonight. You can stay around and hear to see if it's approved or not. Something that's slightly over 20 feet.
All right, so there's a few things, because when I went through this, there's a little pool shed, basically, and it's 11 inches off the survey. Is that an issue? It was there when I bought the house. I didn't know it was off.
Well, Ms. Riley looked at
I know.
your plans, and she hasn't identified it.
Right, and as you're not asking for variance relief for it.
And you're not asking for variance relief for it, so it seems like you're in the clear.
Oh, I thought she was.
No,
Let's see.
I didn't see anything in the
Did
notes.
she? Let's see, let's not say that.
It's, I believe it's in here.
Yeah.
Is the frame shed in there?
This is not a planning session, we gotta.
I know.
I know. This is like, yeah.
No,
No, it's not there.
it's not in here.
It's not there. Okay. All right, so we need you to come back.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There are
do
other
I-
ways to accomplish your goals, but this
Yeah.
right here is
Okay,
not
so-
it.
Many ways to skin a cat, as they say.
I have a hairless cat sitting in the car right now.
Sorry.
It's behind where the pool is. See where the pool is?
Where's the shed?
It's
The
it's
shed
catty
is
corner.
pool.
The-
back
in
by
the back.
the pool.
Huh?
12-1 by
Yeah,
12-3.
right,
Yep.
right.
Okay, so just so I understand the process, do you mind? So this was looked at, but not, so do I have to wait another year?
No.
Why do you keep saying you've waited a year? It looks like you signed these papers in like March.
I've given these 4 times or 3 times.
But it looks like your application you signed in March, so.
That's, I did the application originally in August 3rd, so.
Okay, well, we have one dated March 9th, 2023, and then
Really,
revised
the
again.
timeframe is up to you. You just tell us
July.
how much time will you need, and we can put this over
You could
to
come
another
back
date.
with
and we'll
another
hold
And
it
that's,
open.
and that's gonna be the next thing I'm gonna ask you, is when you'd like to come back.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. So,
Well, you have to submit, your ideas and.
And you have to prepare the, I think, probably propose, have something ready to go in terms of revised proposal.
Yeah, revise plans. You
Right.
revise your plans and come back to us.
But we're saying that if I connect the 2 with a breezeway, I don't have to deal with the height or the square footage.
Okay.
But it's still a necessary.
We're not
We're not
giving you
getting into
instruction.
all the details of this. You can
Okay,
speak with
I'm
Katie,
sorry.
speak with
You're
Katie.
gonna have to-
Okay? Yeah,
Or the
okay.
building department, I mean,
Yeah,
this is
building
not, this is not for
Absolutely.
us to.
Yeah, to tell you exactly what.
Those were just
what
a
we-
couple tickler ideas.
These we're just trying to give you feedback.
Yeah.
And then we need you to do the rest.
And then we have 2 dates in September, 2 dates in October.
Yeah.
Do you have any dates in August?
You do, you're gonna be prepared,
August
because you have to
17th.
submit
weeks?
this 2 weeks
In
in
2 weeks.
advance. Which
Maybe
doesn't
not.
give it,
Yeah,
no,
9/7.
I don't think so, that would be like
So maybe
tomorrow.
September
But could you
7th.
submit it 1 week in advance?
No, I think she's gonna.
Yeah,
I
is
think
anybody
we
that you
should
could
do
sit
it.
with?
Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
Take, Anthony will give you a number, there's somebody you could sit with prior to.
Right. A lot of trees have died so far. Can I take back the surveys, or does any of that, what happens with all of the,
It stays
Just
with the
becomes part of the
submitters.
file.
it just stays with all
the
the
file.
submittals?
And then
Okay.
you submit revised.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, this is mine.
He was the hardest person to get.
Before we do that, I gotta ask.
changed.
Oh, right, yeah, so,
Okay.
sorry,
All right,
sorry.
Okay,
All right,
that's all right.
anything else?
No, but we have to ask if there's comments.
Yep,
from
so
others.
just want to ask if there's anyone here from the public who'd like to be heard in connection with this application. The application of Riley for property located at 873 Bridgehampton, Sag Harbor Turnpike in Bridgehampton. Is there No. Is there anyone who's waiting on Zoom in connection with this application, which again is for property located at 873 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike in Bridgehampton? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this will be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No one on Zoom.
No one on Zoom, okay.
So you would have to submit a revised survey. So you're going to need to get your surveyor to reflect what your plan change is. So keep that in mind before you pick your next date.
And that takes.
So we have 2 dates in September, the 7th and the 21st. Do you think you could shoot for one of those?
Yes.
Which one would you like? I mean, Candace, is it
7th.
okay? Okay.
The 7th.
All right, let's adjourn this until September 7th. And we look forward to receiving some creative ideas.
Second.
Ms. Kern. Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Good night.
I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank you. Okay, number 9 on the agenda, West Hampton Boat Works and Storage LLC, 401 Montauk Highway, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-370-1-5.1 in the hamlet of Queog?
Queog.
Right, okay, just making sure.
Don't get nervous.
On July 20th, 2006, by decision number D.
Quiog, some people say.
Quiog.
Some people say quiog,
like
or
quiet,
tomato.
quiet.
On July 20, 2006, by decision number D011961, this board made a determination pursuant to Southampton Town Code, Section 330-165A, that the applicant is entitled to relief for the following uses and structures: that the boat showroom, offices, boat repair facility, boat storage, and the retail sale of flags and other equipment as they currently exist are entitled to a pre-existing certificate of occupancy. By letter dated May 19, 2023, Carl Benincasa requests that this board reconsider said decision and modify the zoning restriction to allow for general retail use rather than limiting retail use to the sale of flags.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening.
Adam?
Good evening. Good to see you all. Carl Benincasa, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, for the applicant.
The Honorable Carl.
So, as noted, we're talking tonight about 401 Montauk Highway. It's located, I just handed out an area map in color for you all to see. And it's the lot highlighted in yellow. It's a triangular lot located on Montauk Highway and Meeting House Road, on the split between Montauk Highway and Meeting House Road. Although we know the history as far as this board's determination, I just wanted to go through some general characteristics of the neighborhood which lend further to the history of the property. One is that most of these structures existed prior to zoning, and that was determined by this board about 17 years ago. But importantly, when zoning first was established, you can see those two lines buttressing the yellow lot. That was a business district. So originally, this area was a commercial district. And that these lots, these structures, although pre-existing zoning, actually were conforming under original zoning. In addition, the lot's about 500 feet from the West Hampton Beach Commercial District, which has numerous retail uses. That's highlighted in blue. So, in general, it's understandable why these pre-existing structures exist, and many pre-existing non-conforming structures exist along this stretch of Montauk Highway in light of the fact that this was once a commercial district. Across the street is East End Hospice, which actually was, prior to becoming a hospice, even though it's in the R20 zone, was a antique shop. So retail is really a dominant use in the area. In the decision, which I handed out so you all can see.
And this was Lynn Fine from a little while ago.
This was written by a little-known board member named Adam Gross.
Yeah. You know, it's very new to the board. We're
Yes.
5 years on, wow.
And it's a very good decision. And, it notes specifically.
If you say so yourself.
Oh, Lord.
It notes specifically that it cites two affidavits provided by people that were familiar with the property prior to zoning, and notes specifically the property had been used for the sale of consumer goods. More notably, it finds that as to the business uses on the property has been used for the sale of different consumer goods over the years, including motorcycles, lawnmowers, boats, and other equipment, including flags and similar boat accessories. What happened is, over time, when this variance was granted, at the time it was a flag shop, a shop that sold flags. Since then, a tile shop has moved in and has been there for about 10 years, prior to my client purchasing the property. The town realized that this tile shop didn't have site plans, so they brought them in, and they went through the site plan process. And the planning department said, you know, this variance is specific to a flag shop. We need to reconsider that. Now, a flag shop is not a use under the code. Retail is a general use. So all we're looking tonight is to clarify that this retail use, as noted, the property has been used for the sale of consumer goods since prior to the enactment of zoning, is a general retail use and not limited to what it was at the time of the variance, which was a flag store.
However, this application from 2006 was focused on what was pre-existing uses. So the
Right.
reason it was concluded to be a flag shop and the reason it was limited to a flag shop is because that's what pre-existed zoning. This, what we're being asked to do now, is a different, it's apples and oranges. It's something different. So, I mean, I think.
So you're saying it's not a simple modification request?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because the original application was for approval for what pre-existed, whereas this application is a change of use from what pre-existed.
It's not a change of use, it's retail. It's retail, the same size retail, the same scope of retail.
But retail didn't exist prior to zoning, unless you're saying that it did.
Retail existed in that conforming zoning at the time, that E-business, which was a conforming use when zoning was enacted. So that's an important part of this.
It was marine supplies for years.
It was marine supplies, it sold lawnmowers, it sold.
Right. I used to go there when I was a kid.
Yeah, motorcycles, lawnmowers, boats, other equipment noted specifically in the variance, and noted specifically in this variance, used for the sale of consumer goods, general use for consumer goods. To change from a flag, even if we're taking that, to change from a flag store to a tile shop is not a change of use. That's a change of the specific type of retail.
It is a change. It's a change from one non-conforming use to another.
But it's retail to retail. It's not retail to hotel or
But
retail
no.
to restaurant.
Correct, but it's non-conforming to non-conforming.
And are we allowed to do that? Is that something that only the town board can do at this point?
I think so.
I thought that was decided, yeah.
It's something that only the town board can do unless you're subscribed to Carl's argument that it was retail and that it was arguably pigeonholed by the decision. I mean, that's what you're saying, right?
The decision does not say that it was a flag store prior to zoning. The decision notes that it has been used for the sale of various consumer goods.
Well, I mean, Dick Hafley was asking for the retail sale of flags.
Which was probably the current use at the time.
I think that's out.
It sold more than flags.
At the time of the variance, not at the time of its pre-existing.
No, well, he says, based on the information provided, Mr. Hafley asked this board to conclude that the uses of a boat showroom, offices, a boat repair facility, boat storage, and the retail sale of flags and other equipment are entitled to a pre-existing CO.
And that was the whole presentation.
But what's other equipment? And how can you say that that's a change of use?
I'm just.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
what I'm saying.
to
Those
just
are your
dismiss-
choices.
To say casually that this is necessarily a change in use, I think is to overlook the specific findings of this board in 2006. That specifically note that it's the sale of consumer goods, and then go on to note specific goods, and it's not an exclusive list.
That was in affidavits.
As to, this is the determination of the
Yeah,
board.
I understand, but it
That's a
says.
reference to
It's a
affidavits.
reference to affidavits.
What
Yeah,
is-
but it's credited in the decision.
What does the CO say that followed? Because the finding of the board was go issue a pre-existing CO.
The CO says flag store.
The CO says flag store.
So, under what you're requesting for, Counselor, then, what types of retail? I mean, could this become a convenience store? Could it become an ice cream parlor? Could it become a jewelry store? could become something that could conceivably be significantly higher trafficked?
Well, if, it's an excellent question. And the
Because this
answer
is not a-
under-
this is
under
not an
my
easy
interpretation
location.
of pre-existing nonconformities and my understanding of the law, yes. Yes, it could be. Your concerns would be addressed through the planning department. Because just because you can do something under zoning doesn't mean you're not subject to site plan oversight.
Is a tile store a conforming use in the zoning district?
No, it's
It's an R20
It's an
zoning.
R20 zoning.
I understand,
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking the question. Mhm. All right, so, and I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm recalling what, I know you weren't there in 2006, you probably were having a nice time somewhere else.
How could you have a better time?
He's at the Bordy Barn.
I was too old for it at that point.
All right, but these are things that we have to figure out in terms of where we're headed with this one.
Carl, you went to planning on this one? I remember.
I did not go to planning,
Because I remember
but
this issue.
it did go
brought
to,
up.
it did go to planning. I did not go.
So the intended uses is a tile store?
That's the current use, intended use right now.
But now it's being purchased, and you're representing the purchaser?
It was
No, it's only
purchased.
It was purchased.
And then the one, after he purchased it, Mr. Downing came to me to
And he
seek
wants
relief.
to have his options open as opposed to being restricted to a tile store or a flag
I think the
store.
tile store was there when you purchased it, right? Or was
The
it
tile
purchased?
store was there when he purchased it.
And was there for 10 years? you
10
said?
years.
And there was also a boat.
Has that
supplies.
vacated?
No, it's
Uh,
still
Tile
there.
store, is it still there?
It's still there.
It's still there.
Okay.
Is it still active, or has it been abandoned, or is it still active?
It's, well, whether it's been abandoned because it can't be used without site plan, I don't think that's a legal abandonment. They're just following the directions of the town. Yeah.
So is it in operation?
No.
I'm not aware of its
Oh.
current
No,
operation.
he said yes.
Is it in operation?
Well,
Yeah,
it sounded
and-
like
and
I
so
didn't.
if you want to, I can swear you
Yeah,
in, you
come
can
on.
maybe answer questions. So you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Thomas Downing, 128 South Country Road, Remsenburg.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
I do.
truth? Okay, so you maybe tell us a little bit about questions, the back and forth here.
I'm sorry, was, the question was, is the tile store still there?
Is it operating?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And as Carl stated, I purchased the property. I have a history of purchasing properties that have, issues and stuff, and I try to resolve them with the town. And I'm also a builder, so I my goal is to renovate the property, to fix it up. It's not in great shape. But I have to get these things squared away. I also am trying to, put tenants in there. And my feeling is that it wasn't the intent of the town board when they changed the zone to make it so that it can't be more, it can only be a flag store. And the flag store, that
That'd be
doesn't even
most of
show
them.
up in the SIC codes or anything. It doesn't really exist, so.
Yeah, but that was what was requested back then.
No, I
So it
realize that,
ended
and
up
that's
there for
why,
that
and
reason.
that's why we're back to,
Right.
I think that was a mistake based on who represented the owner at the time, but that's
Or
why
maybe
we're
it
back
was-
to this board, to ask for clarification
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, yeah, well, which,
of that retail use.
okay, no, which I appreciate. But, as I mentioned earlier, pre-existing uses are uses that predate zoning for whatever was going on at the property back then. So typically, if we're having a request to say, to reach the conclusion that a use is a pre-existing use, we'll ask for affidavits, aerial photographs to try to figure out what was going on in the property going back. And I understand this, there are issues here because it's you're basically a commercial operation, commercial enterprise in a residential zone,
It's
and it
now a
creates
residential zone.
yeah, which is now a residential zone, which creates roadblocks for you. On the other hand, if there is a use that's being proposed in that's in a what is right now a residential zone, my inclination is to limit it a little bit more than just say retail use across the board. If that's the direction we're going in. And also, there are two different arguments to be made. One is the argument to be made that it predates zoning, which Carl is making. But we have to have proof of that. I mean, and not just what's quoted in the prior decision. But then the other way of going about this would be a change of use from one non-conforming use to another non-conforming use, which is a low standard. It's not the use variance standard, but that authority has been given to the town board, so we don't have the authority to make those determinations any longer. We used to get them from time to time, and ended up, for whatever reason, the town board decided to take on that role. So I guess one question I have is, which way are you going? It sounds to me from Carl, you're going to argue that it's pre-existing retail use. Fine, let's get the proof of the pre-existing retail use.
So the proof of supporting the previous variance, you're looking for additional proof? For, okay.
If that's what you want to argue, and
Maybe I
that's the
could
direction you're
ask
going.
Mr. Daly for an affidavit, since he remembers being there. No, I do too, I remember.
I think he'd have to
it-
recuse.
No, but because I think there is
But
proof
what-
in the
but what if-
affidavits
but
that were
he
submitted
was-
previously.
He was there as a boat. It was for boats,
I brought
right?
a prop there every time I hit a sandbar.
Well, it's still a boat repair shop.
Yeah.
There's numerous permitted uses under this decision. One of which is boat repair,
Right.
boat sales.
Right.
And then there was this little retail store.
Yeah.
That was unrelated to the boats.
I remember that
At the
too.
time, they were selling flags,
Yeah.
which, as you can imagine, there's not many tenants
Oh,
looking
so
to
it
buy
wasn't one
flag
big
stores.
store where
to
part
rent
of it was
flags.
selling flags. There was a separate unit, a separate store.
And that's what we're trying, that's all we're talking about, not one big
How
store.
large an area is that?
About 2,000
Yeah,
square
I
feet.
think about 2,000 square.
It's in the north building.
But
This
I
is
want to
getting
be very
away from
careful,
us.
very careful about this.
This is
okay?
getting away from us though, because
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
previous ZBA decision, and it's not even a ZBA decision, it's really a finding that you're entitled to a pre-existing CO. It looks like if you read that decision, they made the application for the pre-existing CO, the building department said no, they came up with more proof, they brought it to the ZBA said, yes, you're entitled to a pre-existing CO. You have a pre-existing CO. I just found it. The pre-existing CO talks about the dwelling, the single-family dwelling, two-family dwelling, north building boat showroom, offices, and separate tenant flag shop. Then it talks about south building boat repair shop. I mean, it talks about specifically what's in every single one of these buildings. So I don't know that you can give this, you have a pre-existing CO that talks about a separate tenant flag shop. So I don't know that you can present this board with further evidence to show that wasn't supposed to be a flag shop, or, this board can't.
Well, what's a flag shop? I guess that's the question.
It's not a
And
tile shop.
what is the use that we're limited to, if you're saying we're limited?
I'm saying it's not a tile shop.
How do you know?
Because
You wanna
flags
get-
are not tile.
And that's what we're talking about. This flag shop
Just
isn't in
because
the
it was
SAIC
selling-
code.
So what you're saying is
So
if it
what
was
is the
selling
use?
flags, it could be selling perfume.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
General retail.
Could it be general retail? And that's what we're talking about. And if you want more information or more support in furtherance of that argument, we'll happily provide it.
If that didn't exist if general retail didn't exist until the code.
Most
Then would
pre-existing
you-
non-conforming uses you're not gonna find in the SIC code.
Right, so then the proof he would need would be a variety of uses?
I don't know.
Is that
I
what you're
don't-
saying?
And
I'm-
also, Katie's also saying that this is a problem. I mean,
I'm
going
just-
back and try to relitigate
If that's the
essentially.
proof, there's an
what happened in
affidavit that this
2006.
board relied on that said it include use for the sale of different consumer goods over the years, and this is not an exclusive list, including motorcycles, lawnmowers, boats, other equipment, including fags and other similar boat accessories. So, I mean, even the affidavits upon which this decision was granted gives a very wide breadth of what was used in that store.
Have you looked at the affidavits?
I have not
from
seen the
file?
affidavits, no.
Well, might be a good idea.
No, I will.
Take a look, okay? Because whatever's in my decision was based on the prior public hearing record and pretty much the affidavits, and I suspect I probably have seen it.
But even then, it sounds like you're
I did
limiting
download
yourself
those,
to equipment,
Yeah, yeah.
hardware, kind of.
And I mean, flags can be flags on
General
boats.
retail.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be flags for
You
something
can
else.
sell
Flags on
lawnmowers
ties.
and weed
Yeah,
whackers.
yeah. So, but I mean, this was,
I don't know if you have
based
anything
on
to do that.
information that was provided
I don't know.
to the board, a long time ago.
We're not disputing that at all.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
believe the relief granted was the relief requested. And we're here to modify this because I think there is a broader approach that can be taken.
Yeah, well, my just initial looking at it saying, well, if one thing if you're making the argument that there's something else that's pre-existing, but if we're talking about a change of use, then
Then I think
that's a
we're-
new application, and that's an application to the town board.
But
We
then-
agree.
Wait,
Yeah,
I
it's a
get
change
that.
of
Then-
use.
So
Absolutely.
then, but then if that's what you want, maybe that's the road you should take.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Maybe that's the best thing you should do, is seek the change of use through the town board, rather than waste your time here and getting something that's, a Frankenstein for you.
I don't
All
think
just
that
put
we'd be
together.
wasting our time. I think we can make a cohesive argument, and we're willing to test that argument.
All right, make your argument.
Okay.
All right, you'll be coming back.
9/7.
No.
No, not 97. Okay.
Do we need to hold this open? Do you want to hold this open?
yeah.
We can do written
Oh,
comment. Or do you
We don't want to hold it open.
Okay.
Sorry. 9:21?
Can we do something sooner?
Our problem is our
I really
schedule
can't,
on,
9/7 is,
we could do 8/17.
Well, 17th, yeah, 2 weeks.
Want to come in 2 weeks?
You're not gonna be there.
I will not.
Try and get,
I-
together,
Oh, maybe no, not on the 17th.
No.
Oh, hold on.
No, we have very few people
Let's
gonna
get-
be here. We
let's
don't.
get-
No, no, we
it's
can't-
not-
8/17.
It's not a good.
I'm not exactly clear
I
on
would say
what
no,
we're,
9/21.
9/21.
yeah.
we're looking to provide, but I'm willing to.
Take the 9/21.
Okay.
8/17 people are here.
September 21's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good with this. I just gotta get the
Okay,
right stuff.
but
in the
before we do that, want to ask, well, is there any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public?
Yeah, I just, I mean,
Yes.
kind of clarifying, I don't think that, my sense is that you can't expect to get like a kind of a carte blanche, like, yeah, this is good for retail. There's gonna have to be some specificity
Mhm.
in there. And like has been already said, this may not be the venue for ultimately getting permission to do what you'd
Seriously
like to
consider
do.
that.
But you'll have a chance to present before you make that decision.
Okay.
That's
Thank
well
you.
said, Michael.
Okay, want to ask if there is anyone from the public who'd like to be heard in connection with this application, which is the application of West Hampton Boat Work and Storage LLC for property located at 401 Montauk Highway in Quayog. Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which again is for property located at 401 Montauk Highway in Quayog? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No one on Zoom.
Okay, if not, I would move that we hold this application open for all purposes until our September 21st meeting.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your night.
This one will be super quick.
Oh, I have another one.
This
Okay.
one's easy.
Number 10 on the agenda, 225 Butter Lane LLC and 251 Butter Lane LLC at 225 and 251 Butter Lane in the hamlet of Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-52-1-36.15 and 36.13. On January 7, 2021, this board granted variances for lot width and a flagpole width for Lot 4 of a proposed 4-lot subdivision. By letter dated May 18, 2023, Carl Benincasa requests that said decision be amended due to a change in the development plans, reducing the number of lots of the proposed subdivisions from 4 lots to 3 lots.
The board has jurisdiction. Pass that to Mike.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. So this is very easy. Since the variance was granted, and we're not asking for any modification to any relief already granted, it's just an acknowledgement. Since the relief was granted, this was the conditions under the relief was granted. You'll see there are 4 lots. The subdivision has been modified so that instead of 4 lots, these 2 lots are gonna be one single lot. And we just need an acknowledgement that it's a 3-lot subdivision, and a modification of the decision acknowledging the 3-lot subdivision. No change to any relief. Lot 4, which was granted the relief, is now Lot 2. So we ask the modification be that it's a 3-lot subdivision and that the relief apply to Lot 2.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Anyone have any questions? Okay, okay, all right.
They made us do this.
All right, so, is there anyone from the public who'd like to be heard who's in the room this evening in connection with the application of 225, 251, 225, and 251 Butter Lane LLC? Well, actually, no, 225 and 251 Butter Lane LLC for property located at 225 and 251 Butter Lane in Bridgehampton. Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which again is for property located at 225 and 251 Butter Lane in Bridgehampton? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this is the time to let us know by raising your hand. Okay, if not, Mike, it's yours.
Okay, so we'll close this public hearing. We'll leave it open for written submissions until August 18th, and we'll have a decision for you on September 7th.
Second.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Macedonio?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Great night.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 13 on the agenda, D Hive 62 LLC, 19 Wickatuck Drive in the hamlet of Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-15-2-44.
Good evening, Karen Pate Murphy and Jennifer Tierney. And we're here to continue.
You're back.
We are,
You're back, yes.
but we've listened to what you've had to say.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to hand out revised drawings.
That's great. They go to,
I also
Okay.
have a single and separate that was requested since
Yes.
it's the time of the variance.
Yes.
I just want to get that into the record.
Okay.
That shows it's single and separate, and the decision's attached to it.
okay.
Okay, so I guess you have to be sworn in.
Don't have to be sworn in, you can just state your name for the record.
Yes.
And you can tell us where we are now.
Sure, I'm Jennifer Tierney. You're going to be getting revised plans and revised surveys.
These are originals?
I do.
So I can,
Mikhail.
Okay.
luckily Jennifer's the architect on the project.
Yeah.
So she's able to.
So you will see, I hope you see that after last meeting 2 weeks ago, I have revised the proposal and revised the relief that I am hoping to be granted. The house now, we were asking for two different relief on the side setback. The side setback now has been reduced to inches. Because the property is 49.81 feet wide, now the house is 25 feet wide, so we are asking for 0.19 feet, which translates to 3 inches of relief inside setback.
You have 12.4.
And 12.4, so I've split that 3 inches in the middle, so it is 1.5 inches on each side. And I shrunk the width because the width affects the pyramid. And in response to my neighbors, which we have had various discussions, and I'm sure that will be spoken about this evening. But on the east side of the property, I am not asking for any relief from the pyramid whatsoever. And on the west side of the property, I am hoping that you might see that 715.2 cubic feet of relief is something that you feel is more reasonable.
So these are the numbers.
No, they modified everything. So there's
Yes.
nothing on the east, there's 715.2 on the west. and
So we
there's-
went from 9,018 cubic feet to 715.2 cubic feet.
Yes, that's correct.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yep,
Well done.
Makes the
Thank you.
chairman very happy.
it does. It does. That's great. Thank you.
Wow.
Well,
In
that's
2
great
weeks.
that she's an architect,
Wow.
you know, she could.
And the height is 24 or 5 inches?
Correct,
Yes,
to the peak,
yes.
to the ridge line.
And it looks really cute.
Thank you, I think so
It's a cute little
too.
house, right?
I think so
Yes,
too, and I
nice-
think it
it's a
is
nice house.
appropriate for the
Yes.
neighborhood.
Make a
Yes.
cozy little house.
All right.
I guess.
I don't have any questions. Any questions from members of the board?
I know.
Okay, is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard in connection with this application? You can have a seat or go to the podium, whatever you prefer. Okay. And you were sworn in last time, I believe? Okay, so if you just state your name for the record.
Greg O'Halloran, 17 Wickatuck Drive West.
Okay, very good. So if you can tell us your comments on what has been
Well,
a
actually,
revised application.
In reference to what Jennifer just said, yes, we've gotten together at least 2 times And I think we've reached some really great agreements where I think we can all work together. So all parties are happy. And then, for the record, I just want to say if the ZBA and the Health Department accepts this proposal and Beehive LLC completes the project 19 Wicketow Drive West exactly as the plan submitted tonight, then we have no objections.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. O'Halloran.
This is the way it's supposed to work.
I know.
Yeah, no.
I think we feel good about it.
But it's a great neighborhood. You
Yep.
sound like you're enthusiastic about the revisions too.
I am, and
That's
part of
good.
it too is I am the architect, but my family has been present on this street since 1962. My mom lived in Sag Harbor Village for 30 years until she passed away from COVID in 2020. So I'm not coming, I'm staying.
Good, good.
Are you going to be living in this?
Yes, that's intended.
It's gonna be lovely.
Thank you.
And now you have good neighbors.
I know.
There you go.
Yes, so you have
That's
good
the
neighbors.
bottom line.
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
Okay?
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard in connection with this application, who's here in the boardroom? Is there anyone who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with this application, which is application of Beehive 62 LLC for property located at 19 Wicketow Drive in Noyak? If you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No one on Zoom.
No one on Zoom? Okay, if not, Mike, it's yours.
Okay, good. Thank you for these adjustments. I wish it would have been a lot closer to this your first time.
I know.
But, we all learn. And Counselor, I hope you don't bring another one of these in here anytime soon, the 9,000 cubic feet. But anyway,
That's all right. That, it was
she was
submitted in
undeniable,
January.
right? Okay.
Yeah, it
Um,
was submitted a while back. and
Sure.
I didn't understand.
You're claiming no responsibility.
And I will take full
I'll
responsibility.
take the responsibility.
Okay, good, thank
As long
you.
as she gets her.
We'll close the public hearing. We'll leave it open for written submissions. Do we need anything else from you? I don't believe so, right?
No, we-
Nothing else
Made
is
the single
required.
separate.
And we'll have a decision for you on September 7th at our meeting.
All right, I
Second.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your efforts, greatly
I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thank you for all of yours.
No problem. Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you all.
Have a good night.
You too.
Not bad. It's the first application.
How many square feet is it?
Yep, why don't you start?
But,
Yeah, you're right.
All right, we're going to do decisions. I have a decision in the matter of the application of Thomas Corday. This property is located at 406 Hayground Road, Watermill, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-81-3-25. Applicant requested relief to legalize two existing structures, a brick patio built in the 1980s, and a more recently constructed wooden deck. Subject property is undersized lot of 24,875 square feet in a CR 80 zoning district. It's 2 front yards and is triangular in shape. The house and garage were granted a pre-existing CO in 1984, and the swimming pool location was granted a variance in 1986. The at-grade brick patio is built around the pool and is 16 feet from the northern property line, but over 100 feet from the neighbor's house. The wooden deck was constructed off the rear of the house and is flush with the house, but because of the triangular shape of the lot, it extends beyond the grandfathered setback, 21.3 feet, from the property line granted to the house for the to a maximum of 28.6 feet. The wooden deck exceeds by 6 inches the permissible height of 12 inches and was constructed without a building permit. The Zoning Board of Appeals finds this instant that the applicant has established he is entitled to the requested variance relief under Town Code and New York State Town Law, and while the need for a variance relief is self-created, the Board is cognizant of the fact that a self-created hardship in and of itself is not a legal basis to deny the requested relief. Therefore, this Board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C, yards, to allow a portion of the existing brick patio around the pool to remain within the required minimum side yard for the principal building, and 2, Section 330-83A4, to allow an existing wooden deck constructed higher than 1 foot above ground level without the benefit of a building permit to remain within the required front yard. As shown on the survey prepared by Gary Benz, LS, last dated October 19, 2022, Grant of the foregoing relief is subject to conditions of such other permits as applicant as heretofore acquired may otherwise be necessary for final approval.
Second.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I have a decision in the matter of the application of 44SS LLC for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map Number 986-242. This application is for property located at 41 School Street, Bridgehampton. Applicant requests variances for a proposed one-story addition and to legalize an outdoor barbecue and patio. The premises here is a flag lot that is well screened, and after discussion with the board, applicant addressed encroachments with the adjacent property owner and revised the survey to indicate such. While this board does not condone construction done without a building permit, it does find that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. 1. Town Code 33011, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for a minimum side yard setback of 13.9 feet, where 20 feet is required for a proposed one-story addition on the south side of the dwelling. And 2. Town Code 33083C yards and 33076D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, to legalize an outdoor barbecue and a patio located within the minimum required side yard for the principal building, as shown on the survey prepared by F. Michael Hemmer, Surveyor, last revised July 25th, 2023, and the plans prepared by Catherine Fee, Architect, last revised May 31st, 2023. Granted, the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as the applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia? Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I next have a determination in the matter of the application of Charles Truns III, Suffolk County Tax Map Number, for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-358-321.1. This application is for property located at 98 South Road, West Hampton. Applicant requests variances for a proposed pool and pool house on a lot burdened by wetlands, and applicant's goal to preserve 3 large trees. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from Town Code 33011, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for an accessory side yard setback of 21.2 feet, where 30 feet is required for a proposed pool, and an accessory side yard setback of 19.6 feet, where 30 feet is required for a proposed pool house. As shown on the survey, all is shown on the survey prepared by Ward Brooks, Surveyor, last updated December 30th, 2022, and the floor plans and elevations prepared by Jason Ormond, Architect, dated December 4th, 2020. The granting of this relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Kern?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Last decision I have is an amended decision for the application of Sean King, Suffolk, for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map Number 965-233.5. Applicant requests that ZBA decision number D019084 be modified to grant relief for the height of a proposed garage with accessory apartment above at 23 feet 9 inches, where a maximum of 20 feet is permitted for property located at 16 Farmstead Lane. While this board typically does not grant variances for height outside of a flood zone, under this set of circumstances, the proposed amendment passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, decision number D019084 is hereby amended to eliminate the variance granted for a pyramid encroachment and instead grants relief from Town Code 33011, Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for a height of 23 feet 9 inches, where a maximum of 20 feet is permitted for a detached garage with accessory apartment to be located on the second floor, as shown on the site plan prepared by F. Michael Hemmer, Surveyor, last revised March 6, 2023, and the floor plans prepared by Southampton Engineering Services, P.C., dated February 6, 2022. All other provisions and conditions of decision number D019084 remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Ms. Kern?
No.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion to close?
Motion closed.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
We are-